In today's video, we're going to talk about the Caesar Cipher, which actually is one of the first and simplest ways to encrypt and decrypt messages. It's named after Julius Caesar, of course. They used that to encrypt messages, military messages, so that the enemies couldn't actually understand what it was written on them. It works by shifting each letter of a text by a fixed number of positions, and this number is also called a key. Let's say we have a letter, A, and we want to use a key of 4. So A becomes B, C, D, D. So A with a key of 4 becomes D. Alright? Of course, if we go out of range, so let's say we have Z and we have a key of 2, we cannot do like Z and then what? We don't have any other letter. So we need to wrap around and do Z, A, B. So Z with a key of 2 becomes B. Julius Caesar actually used a key of 3. So A would become D, B would become E, and so on and so forth. So this is basically how the Caesar Cipher works in a nutshell, but let's now get to the fun stuff. Alright guys, so I've already created an index.html file and a main SCSS file, and I put it inside this folder. Alright, so I've already linked it and I've got the title here. So that's already ready. Alright, perfect. So I'm gonna create a div with a class container. Alright, inside of here I'm going to write a little title, and then I'm going to create another div with the class app container. If I can type. Perfect. Inside of here, we're going to have a text area. We're going to set the width via CSS, so we just need an ID. And then here, we're going to have another div with the ID buttons container, and inside we've got the button with an ID of encrypt, and then an input type. I'll leave text, an ID of key. We are also going to have a placeholder key, so the user can actually tell that they need to enter the key, and then another button with, in this case, ID decrypt. Instead of here, I'm going to write decrypt, and here decrypt with the upper case D. Perfect. All right. So this is actually the structure of the HTML. I'm gonna save it and see what we've got. We've got something like that. And now I'm going to style it a little bit. Of course, I'm not going to style it like really well. You can do that if you want, but I'm just going to make it presentable. So let's start with the body. I'm going to set the margin 0. Then the container, I'm going to set the width 100, viewport width 100 for each, display, flex, align items, center, and flex direction column. So it's already centered and looking better. Then the H1 inside the container, I'm going to align it to the center, and let's get to the app container now. Display flex, flex direction column with 50%, align items, center. Then let's style the text area inside the container. So I'm gonna set it equal to 200 pixels with 500 pixels, font size 18 pixels, just to make it a little bit bigger. Then I'm gonna style the buttons container, margin top 30 pixels, display flex with 100%, and justify content center. Then the input, a width of 30 pixels and a margin of 0, 15 pixels, 0, 15 pixels. So let's see what we've got. Actually, there's something going on that doesn't make sense, because I've set the app container text area height 200 pixels. So let's see. Actually, I set it as a class, so let's make it an ID. All right, now it works. So as you can see, you make mistakes. That's not a problem. The important thing is that you actually understand why something happens, and then you sort it out. So no worries if you make mistakes, especially if you are at the beginning. I make mistakes all the time, and I've been programming for years, so don't you worry. So now it's a little bit like more presentable. There's nothing like fancy, it's just a title, etc. But it's sort of just to make it a little bit more like an application. So style it however you want. So now let's get to the juicy stuff. So now we've got something like that, but we can actually do anything, so it doesn't actually work. All right, so let's get to the actual script. That is what we are here for, right? So first of all, I'm going to get all the buttons. I'm using query selector and encrypt. I'm just duplicating this, and here decrypt, and here the same thing, decrypt. All right, then I'm gonna get the key. Actually, I'm not getting the key, but just the element, the input element. All right, then I'm going to make a list of letters. Let's close this so you can see it better. List letters equal, okay, list. Actually, I'm copying and pasting it because that's quite a long list, so I don't want to waste time. All right, like that. Perfect. So you've got all the letters. Actually, I can split it here. So that's a little bit like that. Perfect. You've got a list of letters, and now we need to have a new text variable which is equal to an empty string. Then we're going to set it to the new text. Then btm decrypt, I'm gonna add an event listener. Now I'm using an arrow function. Okay, so this event triggers when you click the encrypt button. Okay, and when I click the encrypt button, I want to first get the text area. Document query selector and we gave it an ID of text. Then I'm going to get the key value, not just the element, but the value. And I'm going to convert it to a number because we need to add it and subtract it. So we get the value, and then because input, we set it to text, and so we need to convert it because this is actually a string. This is actually a string. We need to convert it to a number so that we are able to add it and subtract it. So then I'm going to use a for of loop with letter, and here we do text area dot value. So we're getting whatever we are entering right here. Then if list letters includes letter, I continue. So what have I done here? So basically I'm looping through all the letters. So H-E-L-L-O, okay. Then I'm checking if the letter is not inside of the list of letters here. So let's say a space, a question mark, etc., etc. I'm not going to do anything, so I'm continuing. So all the code that we're going to write down here is not executed, and the loop starts again with the next letter, okay? Because we just want to convert these letters, not anything else. So then I'm going to get the index of the letter, list letters, find index. Instead of here, a function item, let's call it item because we already have that. So basically, you need to provide a function, okay, inside of here, inside of find index. The item is this. 1 item, 2, 3, 4, etc. So it loops through list letters one by one, so A, B, C, D, and it checks if item, so A, B, C, D, is equal to letter, and letter is actually the letter that the user entered. Okay, so it goes like this. You've entered, let's say, BA, for example. It goes here, and then it goes here. It checks if is A equal to letter. In this case, letter is B. No, it's not. So let's go to B. Is B equal to letter? Yes, that's equal to letter. So the letter here is equal to the item here. So where is the letter B inside list letters? At index 1. So 0, 1. So index letter is 1. Then it goes to A. Is A inside of here? Yes. First time A. Index 0. So index letter is 0. I hope it makes sense. So then we need to create here we've got the index new letter, so the encrypted letter, let's call it like that. So we get the index, and then we add the key value. So let's say index A, this is that, key is 2, 1, 2, so index 0, 1, 2, index is 2. So A becomes C. But if the index new letter is greater than 25, we need to subtract 26. Let's put the there. Perfect. So why did I do that? So basically, as I said in the intro, if you go outside of the range, out of range, you need to go back. So let's say you've got y, for example, and you are here. If you go like, this is 24, the index 24, 0, 24, 25. So that means that if you go like, let's say key 3, it's like 24, 25, 26, 27, but you don't have a 27 index here. So you need to do 24, 25, 26, 27 minus 26, and you get index 1, which is B. So basically it's like 24, 25, 26, 27, but you don't have 27, as I said, so you subtract 26 and you get 1, which is because we've got 26 letters, of course, and you got that. So that is why I subtracted. And you need to do that, of course, because it would throw an error because the index is out of range. You don't have a 27 index in there. Okay, so then new text plus equal list letters index new letter. So basically here we are using the same list from above, the list letters, but we're using the new index. So the index to which we actually added the key. And let's say, for example, the key was 4 and the index of the, let's say, old letter was 0. Now the new index is 4. So we actually getting the letter at index 4 instead of at index 0, if it makes sense. And then text area of value is equal to new text. And down here, you've got new text equal like that. So let's put the semicolons because I like them. Okay. So basically here, I've got the new text. For each letter, I converted and I added to new text. All right. Then I set the value of the text area to the new text. And then after the loop has ended, I reset new text. So let's try that out if it works. Okay, so I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna write A, B, C, D with a key of 1, B, C, D, E. All right, let's try that again. A, B, C, D with the key of 2, C, D, E, F. Let's try Y, Z with the A, B. It looks like it's working, right? So actually we've just created an application that encrypts something, some text, with the Caesar cipher using a key. Hello, how are you? Becomes something like that. Okay, but now we need a way to actually decrypt it. Otherwise, it would be useless. So I'm going actually to copy all of that like that, because that's similar, but of course the other way around, but it's really similar. So decrypt, click. So this is exactly the same, this is exactly the same, this stays the same, and this stays the same. No, it doesn't stay the same because you need minus, because you are decrypting it, so you need to subtract the index. Okay, here the same thing. You don't need to check if the index is out of range, like greater than 25, but you need to check if it's less than 0, because you are going the other way around. And then you need to add 26, not subtract anymore. Then this is exactly the same, because you still need to add a text, and then this is the same and this is the same. So I've already actually explained that to you. So let's actually try if it works, because if it works, we've just finished our application. So let's save it and try. Hello, how are you? Encrypt, decrypt. Hello, how are you? Look at that. Look at that. Isn't it cool? Of course, you don't have the spaces, you don't have the question mark. Why? Because that would be quite easy to tell if there was like a 5 letters word, a 3 letters word. So you don't need to have like the spaces. You need something like that. So the actual person sees that and say, I don't know, it doesn't make sense, right? But then you decrypt it, and then of course you can tell that's hello, how are you? Okay, so this is pretty amazing. Let's try it. So let's try another one. So I am really happy to teach you something new. Encrypt, decrypt. Oh, that's something. As you can see, the I is not there anymore. Why? Because actually we wrote an I in uppercase I, and we didn't have an uppercase I in this list. So what can we do in this case? We can do something like that. So we can actually get the letter. Let's see here. And we can do something like letter, and we need to set it to let here. So letter, and then we need to add something like letter to lowercase, and we save it. And now that should work, because actually if we had like an I, an uppercase I, that would be transformed, that would be converted to a lowercase I, and we have that in the list. So let's try, and hopefully that'll work. So encrypt, decrypt. As you can see now, it works. So let's try again. I am happy. Encrypt, decrypt. I am happy. So, oh, actually another typo here. All right, everything live, right? Perfect. So I'll close everything down as usual, but actually I don't have a lot to close down, and that's it.